pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Evening, everybody. So I have a motion to open town board meeting May 22nd, 2025.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
First item on the agenda, R.H. Craigville LLC, a.k.a. Young Grove Residential Subdivision, 105 single-family residential lots on approximately 354 acres of property. Discussion on the petition submitted in the matter of extension of the Town of Goshen Consolidated Water and Consolidated Sewer District to Youngs Grove Subdivision, Town of Goshen, Section 9, Block 1, Lot 8.452. Sean, give it to you.
Sure, do you want to hear from the applicant first? Mr.
Yeah,
Supervisor?
I'm sorry.
Or you can leave it here.
I didn't even see it. I apologize. Yes.
So for the record, my name is Neil Alexander. I'm a partner at the law firm of Cuddy and Fader. Steve Esposito, who's our engineer of record.
Just turn on your mic, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
It's on, you just gotta point it a little bit towards your mouth.
How about now? We good?
Well,
Yeah.
There are two, there's one on top, power, and another
Oh,
one
yeah,
below.
you're
that
having-
says on.
It's on. It's on.
It's
You
on.
just have to lean into it
He's
a
just
little
tall.
bit
All
more.
right, I'm tall. I'll lean it.
There you go.
There you go.
You know, I haven't been accused of being a shrinking violet before. I'm enjoying this night already. So for the record, my name is Neil Alexander. I'm a partner at Cuddy and Fader. Steve Esposito over at EPC is our engineer of record. I think he's hit a little traffic, but we're going to proceed without him, but understanding that I may not be able to answer anymore.
Where did he hit traffic on 207?
I'm
Go.
not 100% sure. I just sort of got, yeah.
On North Fifth Street.
Fair enough. I wasn't moving fast enough on that one. So we've been in front of you a bunch of times over the years. I tried in the accompanying letter to try and sort of catch you up on what's been going on. I mean, this is a subdivision that was approved a really long time ago. And as is sort of a little bit commonplace in the layering of regulatory aspects for a project of this size, we've been sort of bouncing back and forth between different ideas of how to address water, wastewater, and things of that sort. I think part of what's really creating a fair amount of pressure right now, as you know, is this is a major project as per the new wetlands law. So we're really trying to finish this up before all the changes when we're no longer grandfathered. I think what we've really been able to come down to and bouncing around between the health department and most recently with DEC is that there had been discussion at one time about creating a transportation corp. And if I'm getting too far into the weeds, just tell me to cut it off and we'll go from there. But intellectually, there had been discussion about doing a transportation corporation, which a long time ago used to be a commonplace way to handle a subdivision of this size. I think everyone, you as a board, have probably had people with attorneys or themselves come in front of you with transportation corporations that sort of haven't kept up with the times, right? And in this case here, the creation of a transportation corporation would essentially be like a 5-minute length of duration, because the hope here is through your consolidation of your district and then dealing with our water and wastewater ultimately at the village wastewater plant, really you'd be creating a transportation corporation just to hold a permit for 2 seconds to then turn the permit over to a governmental entity. So as opposed to a quasi, right? So essentially what's happened here is DEC agrees that if you would be co-applicants with us on our permitting with them, then if you extended your district to also include our property, what would happen then is it would facilitate essentially the water withdrawal permit application and also the sewer works aspect, such that ultimately, as a condition of our final subdivision, we would have to build all the infrastructure on our property. We'd turn it over to you all once it's built to then maintain the public part. The part associated with our subdivision would obviously be on within us. That's the essence. And so our petition is step one. I was just sort of laying out the long plan.
Yeah,
Step one is just right now is we'd like to put our property in your districts And that's really why it's all happening. We're really just trying to get down to what essentially the planning board anticipated would be the actual, where the water and wastewater would go back over a decade ago. And that's really what step one is here before you tonight.
Okay, I apologize, I thought we did all this, I thought we were approved coming into the district, I thought it was all worked out already.
No,
I might be mistaken. My understanding is that the district has not been extended to this property
No.
yet.
Well, it wasn't combined when you originally came in.
Right, right.
as far as I know, we haven't voted on anything like that.
What's that?
As far as I know, we haven't voted on anything.
I think it was called a I'm gonna mess up
Right,
the
what we
name.
did, Phil, if you recall, is they originally came in putting in a wastewater treatment facility plant, and then we agreed to allow them to go into the force main.
Right.
And then also help by providing water to Stonehenge, so we didn't have to put a new tank in.
Yeah, right, and I think the whole plan, as Supervisor, as you just said, has really not changed in several years. I think really we've had a little bit of a Dickens of time, and it's really been more Steve Esposito who's been interfacing with DEC, so I'm not in the proverbial weeds on that. Getting DEC sort of on board to get rid of the need for a transportation corporation that would exist for like 8 minutes, until we turned over the infrastructure to public entities.
We weren't happy with the transportation system to begin with.
Yeah.
There's a lot of resistance on that, yeah, I mean.
Understood, and I think we
Yeah.
finally got the people that needed to understand that
Yeah.
to the right places. So my hope is, going through the process here, once we're in the district, then we'll be able to be co-applicants with DEC, which then takes care of the water permit, and then obviously we need to work through with the village and finish that part on the wastewater side.
When you started this, you said you're gonna build all the infrastructure within the property, but you're also gonna extend the force main all the way down.
Yes,
You'd have to, yeah.
yes.
So I can't think of another example when we were a co-applicant with a developer for some type of approval.
Yeah.
So I don't understand that, why that would be in your best interest or our best interest.
Right, so I think it relates to being able to give water to not just to our property, but also where the water is going to also go to the other subdivision. And I can get you a better answer,
So
more.
why couldn't we just
Yeah.
extend the district to
Right.
that property
And that may work too.
Yeah,
without being a co-applicant on the DEC application?
I need to get you more information on that part.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't think that solution will work. Once you extend the district, right now you're in charge of that's your water and sewer infrastructure in there. If that's gonna be your water and sewer infrastructure, the DEC is gonna require a permit application with your signature on it as a supervisor. So I think the way the applicant's structuring this is so that they don't need to set up a transportation corporation and then transfer that infrastructure to you at a later date. It does reduce the number of steps required and makes it a little bit harder at the front end, a little bit easier at the back end.
So we're becoming co-applicant on an application to the DEC, does it make us fiscally responsible for anything?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
No,
If the project was to not move forward, there's no requirement from DEC, I'm sure the applicant's gonna pay all the permit fees and everything else that,
yeah,
that's
and
required.
if you really, if your attorney wanted us to, sign an indemnity relative to the application and permitting, we wouldn't have an objection to that, if you wanted to belt and suspenders that, or.
I'm just a little confused, if we're co-applicant and this thing goes upside down or there is any liability, once the permit, if we're co-applicant, then the permit will be in our name and theirs. So once they start to build, and Joe made a good point, and I was thinking the same thing, once they start to build, and if there's some liability, I can't see why we wouldn't be held responsible as an approved applicant on this project, because we're a part of this project now.
Well, I would say that you should speak to your insurance broker about any liability you may have with regard to that, but I don't think that this is really speaking much more different than somebody coming in and proposing to dedicate their roads to you in the future.
But we're not co-applicant on building the roads. This thing is,
So you're saying
We're
you
getting
think
a
that
permit.
being an applicant increases your liability?
absolutely, well, let's ask our attorney, hey, guy. Look up. What do you think?
I mean,
What do you think?
it seems there was a solution presented, which would be an indemnification policy, but I would have to coordinate with our insurance broker to find out if that would suffice.
And,
Well,
you know, another look, the only
whoa,
reason
whoa,
why
whoa,
we're
whoa,
suggesting it
whoa,
is
whoa.
to satisfy DEC.
No,
And
I
so
understand.
what I'm also gonna throw out there is, I can get a little more of a fine point on it. It may be just a letter of
Yeah.
intent from you all, that you have no objection to it may be enough for DEC.
Okay.
And so I can look to see if we can lower that threshold with DEC. I think what we're I can look into that,
If
if we
you're
can lower
gonna-
the threshold, but, and we can also indemnify either
Well,
way.
the indemnity, what I'm concerned about is you indemnify us, and then they, for some reason, run into some liability, go belly up, and it's halfway, half of it's.
Well, we're gonna have to post
That
it.
indemnification means absolutely nothing, unless
So,
you post a huge
From your
bond.
perspective as I'm sorry, I talked over you, I apologize.
That's
I
okay.
didn't mean to, I was
I'm
sort of
used to it,
racing
that's
along.
okay.
My thought here is, remember, you're gonna have, so we're now crossing from the town board over to the planning board. Remember, we're gonna have, as a condition of performance bond, I assume, when we're in front of the planning board, that's gonna
Right.
require us to do all the common infrastructure, whether it's stormwater,
Yeah.
and then obviously this will be wrapped into that. So you would have a surety in your typical way as a planning board, that if we didn't complete our work in a timely fashion, subject to all the notice and all the stuff that we've all dealt with before, would be triggered, and you would have the monies available through that irrevocable letter of credit or some other form of surety
Wow.
to finish it.
I've tried to collect on irrevocable letters of credit for millions of dollars. Trust me, I've been involved. The other
Did you
thing
check
I'm-
with the DEC
Yeah.
if a letter from us saying
Yeah.
that once it's built, we would accept it in town district? We give it, upfront approval?
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it's likely that they would not accept that, right?
No.
So they're, as a permitting issuing agency, they would only issue a permit for water system to a transportation corporation or to a municipality. So I think, I don't know if they would do that, I don't suspect they do, you can ask the question, but I wouldn't expect that they would.
I would only have one other issue, and that's starting a precedent of being a co-applicant on anything.
Understood.
I don't think we're co-applicants on anything, and we get any unusual situation, the first thing they will do, if they're going to the DEC for a permit, is try to get the town to be a co-applicant. I really would worry about that, but maybe, I'm not sure, Rory, if you think we're okay.
I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
I mean, that's fair, it's a question that should be asked of just about anything unique we do, right? So
Yes.
that's, I think it has to
Yeah,
be.
and I think you might be able, and subject to like further discussion, part of the distinguishing factor here also is gonna be is that this isn't you becoming, there's a public benefit that's outside of our property that's being benefited in the town as a whole through the water, through the water district and providing water to another,
Yeah.
once it's in your public infrastructure. So I think to the extent that someone in the future came forward, it would be readily available for you to distinguish it, right? It's not your run-of-the-mill subdivision that way on the water and the wastewater. It's that we're going to provide water to a subdivision that needs that water that's not ours, right? We have extra capacity here that we're offloading into your district.
Yeah, correct.
That's gonna go to others. So I think that's the salutary distinguishing aspect.
I don't
of
think
the
you're getting an argument from anybody here, we understand the situation, we
Yep.
understand the deal, it works for both of us, there's no doubt about that. But I think Phil's point is well taken, let's just make sure that we, either we're indemnified or what we
Yeah.
have to do, and see how we can get it done. But for the purposes of the, Youngs Grove coming into our district, I think we're all in agreement that we're gonna move forward.
Yeah, no, I was just trying to think about how to protect, how you could feel protected in the future too. So other applicants with other
Right.
more generic projects would
It's the
understand, be
co-applicant that's the
forewarned, would be
problem, yeah.
forewarned that this solution may not be available to
Right,
them.
okay.
Yeah. George, anything?
I don't have anything further.
Neil, just carry the conversation forward. I want to address some of the questions with you, see if we can present something
Yep,
to the board that answers that, provides a little more
Okay.
information.
that definitely works for me, and I don't know if the next step is a public hearing or how you guys go from here.
No,
Not at this point.
Okay.
Did you hear back from the village?
Yeah, that's what my next question is. So, nothing from the village.
I haven't heard anything from the village. I was waiting to see tonight, make sure everything was as we thought it was going to be.
Mhm.
And we will try and get on a village agenda as well, but we, have not been placed on an agenda yet. I think their next meeting is early June though, so I think the timing, I don't wanna cast aspersions. I think the timing worked really opportunistically, that our letter sort of landed when it did, and you guys whereas Grace says you were to put it on the agenda right away, I think our letter landed a little bit more distant between their meetings.
Yeah,
So-
probably hindsight, you probably should have went to them first and got approval, you know, but still, I think we're all in agreement that we wanna do this one way to get it done. It benefits both of us.
Can you tell me if the principals are the same principals on this project?
Mr. Rieger's right here, one of the Riegers is here.
Okay, good. Yeah,
Another thing to bring up, and I'm hesitating a little to bring it up now, but most of these large subdivisions, we've entered into a developers agreement. Is there any developers agreement in any way, shape, or form that's been discussed or talked about?
I don't think on this one, I haven't seen it.
No.
No.
Well, I mean, my 2 cents thing
Yeah.
would be is, I would like to see some type
Yeah.
of a developers agreement, because it's kind of good for you, like, you don't have to build a sewer plant, and God knows, we need tons and tons of money for our water and sewer districts. So I'd like to be able to enter into some type of discussion. It may wind up going nowhere, but I'd like to enter a discussion to some type of developers agreement so that we can enhance both the water and the sewer district that you're coming into.
I would welcome the opportunity to see what you've done with others, to understand what that means fully in the context of your other applications, and we can see, I mean, yeah, we'll leave it there.
Very good.
And then, you know, I think the real key to this whole thing is the village.
Yes.
So before I'm saying, oh yeah, we're gonna enter you into the water and sewer district, the village is really gonna have to come forward.
George, just for purposes of the village, they just need to grant permission that they have they have enough capacity. It's us that grant the permission to access the district, it's our district. So they just approve that, yes, there's enough capacity to handle it.
Yeah, I know, but are they going, the question is are they going to approve that?
for the most
That's all.
part, they usually were only approving subdivisions that were contiguous to the village property. This one is way, way out there, so I don't know if they'd be so receptive.
I'm almost positive that it was already approved by Kyle.
It seems to be, that in 2013, and you can hop in on this, there was correspondence that indicated they approved that. 2 years ago, a subsequent follow-up meeting indicated they were approving it again, just once that was the change of the package plan to the force thing,
Right.
right? And that was the only difference, and it seemed there were some steps that were supposed to be taken that we're trying to find out if they were taken. Is that a fair?
Yeah,
Representation.
exactly, I think, you know, time goes by and then they're just looking to dot i's and cross t's and confirm they still have the capacity.
I think that's what they were waiting on, they were doing a study or something, relative to capacity.
Yep.
All right, thanks,
Just-
Ken.
Thank you.
Again, it's not my particular problem, but I think there's my humble opinion from being around for a few years, is capacity in the sewer plant. The question is, do they have capacity in the lines going to the sewer plant? That's where I think there may be some difficulties. But Langton Tully is their engineers, aren't they?
Not for the water and sewer.
No, Jason
Nothing?
Pitangaro
Who
is.
is- Oh, Collier?
No.
Jason Pitangaro.
Oh, I see, okay, well, anyway, that's just something.
But I believe
to think about.
I believe that they come into our lines, so I think we've determined our capacity on that force main can handle it, and then we dump it into into the sewer system in the village along Old Chester Road.
Oh, yeah, I'm not debating the issue of whether we have the capacity, although I don't know that as a fact. What I am thinking about is the capacity, once it hits the village line, that's where there may be a concern there, but that's not my problem.
That's the village, yep. All right, let
Understood.
us know how you make out with the village.
We hope to make out soon.
Sure.
Thank you, take care.
Hang on one second. See if we have any questions.
Steve, there was big traffic on
He's waiting down
207
the
on
hallway
Big
for
Traffic,
me to
right?
finish.
I was waiting for the end.
I don't know if you have anything to add, I don't know how much you heard out there. Just, we were trying to figure out where the village is, we figured you had a better pulse on that.
Well, I know that the clerk was reaching out to the mayor last week to see if we can get on the agenda. I forget what meeting it was. I think the second meeting in June. So hopefully we'll hear something.
Any questions for?
How's the iron and manganese levels in the wells out at Young's Grove? None?
Non-existent? Yeah.
Really?
Great quality water.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's great. And then the other thing, the technical thing is, it's a pretty long run, right?
Yeah.
Sewer wise, I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Sewer-wise,
force main,
but-
yes.
So through a force main, but is there gonna be like one pump station, or you need two pump stations?
One
to
pump
get it
station.
to- One
One,
pump
yeah,
station?
yeah.
And that will.
The pump station will be on site, and force main will go up Broadly, down, up Old Chester Road, to the village.
One pump station.
Yeah, well, it'll first hook into the town line, or you're gonna do a line all the way to the village?
Well, we're gonna look at whether we can tie into the town, that's still in.
Still in-
Yeah, so we're gonna check and see if we can do that.
What,
So,
do we know what size that main is for Heritage? Have you checked into that?
I do. I don't
Okay.
remember, I mean, I don't
Okay.
remember, but I do.
Well, so you just gotta size it and make sure that the
Yeah,
amount of.
well, we actually was sized for that anticipation, because we had talked to the developer at the time,
Okay.
so.
And before you came in, I threw out the possibility of a developers agreement to help us with our huge costs in the water and the sewer districts. And it's a discussion matter. I don't know where it's gonna go. but
Okay.
we-
Well, I mean, it's, one thing that we are doing, which is part of our application to the DEC for the withdrawal permit, is including Stonehenge in our application. So, we've met with the supervisor and your staff, and instead of making it, if you recall, as part of our original approval, we had a temporary, or an emergency connection, where we were gonna make a connection to Stonehenge with a meter, but it was for emergency.
For Stonehenge.
Stonehenge,
Right,
and we
okay.
suggested now, instead of just making it for an emergency, we could make it permanent.
Yeah.
And you could eliminate a lot of the replacement costs that would be associated with these, aging equipment
It would, with the standpipe.
So they would be
Yeah,
part of
with
our
the
water
standpipe.
district? Is that, Stonehenge will also be included as part of our water district? Is that what you're saying?
Stonehenge is in our water district.
Yeah, I mean, but it'll be one with them. They'll be
Yeah, so
connected.
with them providing the water, additional water that we need for Stonehenge, it's gonna allow us to eliminate the new tank that we have to put up there.
Right, okay, good.
Yep.
Yeah, so we have ample water for both,
Right,
both
that's perfect.
both the developments, and they're stored, we'll provide storage for them. So-
Yeah. Yeah,
And good water.
That's,
What's the capacity on that big
the,
well?
the fact that we could have another well
Yeah.
for Stonehenge,
Oh.
to me, and I think to everybody
Oh.
here, is very important.
I mean, critical.
Yeah.
How many gallons a minute is that big well?
85.
Probably handle
That's
the
our
entire
best
district.
well out of service. The total, I forget, over like 120-some thousand in capability for withdrawal. So when we need 46, and I think Stonehenge was like 20-something.
Good, that would work.
Thanks, Steve.
Right? Thanks.
Chapter the traffic on North Church Street.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. Next item on the agenda, discuss and award the update to the townwide analysis to DTS Provident. Phil and I were both on that call. We entertained offers from two vendors, and DTS was the
Yeah,
lowest bidder.
yeah.
Sean, you wanna weigh in on anything on that?
By a large margin, as a matter of fact, it was lowest bidder.
Yeah, I'd be happy to, Mr. Supervisor. So as you know, you are in the middle of updating your comprehensive plan, and you've also received the Safe Streets for All grant from Federal Highway. The comprehensive plan committee had the idea to kill two birds with one stone and get the traffic analysis updated for their use, but also address the Safe Streets for All grant. As you said, you put an RFP out, you received interest from 3 firms, received proposals from 2 firms. You had an interview with both of the respondents on May 9th, and I think you're looking to make award to the lowest bidder in this case, who you've actually worked with before. This is the same consulting firm that was the town's traffic consultant for Legoland.
For Legoland.
So you have some history with them, and you know their capabilities.
All right. Any
You need a
questions from the
motion?
board?
No.
Yep, I need a motion, please.
Okay,
A motion to award the bid to DTS.
DTS.
so moved.
Second?
Roll call.
Yeah.
Councilman Cantorino?
Aye.
Councilmember Lyons?
Aye.
Councilmember Florio?
Aye.
Councilmember Gallo? Aye. Supervisor Betcher?
Aye.
Great.
Okay, next item on the agenda is to discuss and authorize the supervisor to sign the developers agreement between the town of Goshen and 2602 Route 17M Developers LLC, lots 12-1-116.1 and 12-1-116-.2. So I've gone through it, I don't know, Sean, you need this?
I can be quiet, I can speak
No, no,
whatever
no,
you
go
like,
ahead.
Supervisor, right?
You can start and give us the rundown, and I have some, both I
I
and George have many questions.
I definitely need
Okay.
more information.
Sure, I'd be happy to do that. So,
Okay.
I'm gonna give you a little bit of background. So, this is the RDM 2602 project.
Mhm.
It's just west of what used to be Furniture Options, right? So this is the project that was approved for 300,000 square foot warehouse and distribution facility for dry goods. That was actually right out of the planning board's resolution. They received conditional final from the planning board in December of '22. The site plans were signed in November of '24. The resolution of the planning board required the applicant, before they get a building permit, to enter a developer's agreement with you for their fair share cost of the impacts to traffic. So in December of '24, their consulting engineers submitted an estimate of the fair share cost. I think you received a copy of that. It's a memo from Colliers Engineering and Design.
Yeah, we do have it.
That was referred to the town's traffic consultant, and this part you don't have. In February of this year, he wrote back and said that number is adequate. But I can get you a copy of an email, I can have him formalize that in a letter, so you have it for your file, but he did agree with Collier's memo. He reviewed it. Essentially what it comes down to is RDM 2602 will increase the intersection by about 10%, and 10% of the cost, overall cost of the improvement is the $44,000 approximately that's in the developer's agreement.
So my question is, what is the improvement? What are they improving?
I'm sorry, I have to look back, Mr. Supervisor.
I mean, is that the right-hand turn or whatever they're,
It was in connection with that. It wasn't included in Collier's memo.
I didn't see it.
What it says, you know, I just got this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
It says, in total, the traffic signal replacement is
Yeah.
established to cost $438,954. So, that's why I say, I need quite a bit more information, because I think it's a traffic light. And where is the traffic light going?
I can't answer that. I'm sorry, I did not do the traffic review. If you'd
Right.
like, I can
Well,
get
yeah.
additional information from the town's
Definitely need more
traffic consultant,
information.
or I can ask him to come to your next meeting if you'd like.
Yeah,
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 we just got this, yeah.
yeah.
yeah, and then, let's see. I think, as I said, I just got this tonight, so there was
We
this.
get a four-page memo, and I'm just looking
Yeah.
at it within the last 20 minutes. And
There was
there's
a
no-
factor in there that I think elevated it as time went on, you know, in case the job was done 10 years from now or whatever. So, but anyway, I think, yeah, I think that I'd like to be able to read over this memorandum I just got tonight.
Sure.
And
Where
digest
where
it
do you
a
see a
little bit.
traffic light? I didn't even see that when I read the
On
It's
this
on,
here?
it's on the, it's in the memorandum.
Oh, the memo, not the developer's
Yeah,
agreement.
the memorandum.
Oh, I thought you meant the developer's agreement.
Memorandum.
I saw that.
Page 2.
Also, I'm curious, I mean, they've listed they've listed many different projects that are on there,
Yeah.
but, you know, one of them's a village project. How do we get that? How do we get Kedem to pay their fair share of it?
I can't answer that, Mr.
Yeah.
Supervisor. I'm sorry. Again, I didn't do the traffic review, and I will ask John Canning to be here for your next meeting.
Yeah, that would be a good idea, and this way we could read this and
Yeah.
absorb it and then
Agreed.
ask intelligent questions rather than
Yeah,
shooting from the hip.
I don't believe this was listed for action tonight. It was more introduction and discussion.
Okay.
Especially if you just received it today.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we're gonna table this to the June 12th meeting?
Yep.
Well, we just got the memorandum today,
Yeah.
so, I mean, it's very difficult for us to sign a developers agreement without having full knowledge and be able to ask questions on it. So, yeah, I would say table it to the next meeting.
Yep.
June twelfth.
June twelfth. So could I have a motion to table the developers agreement to the June twelfth meeting?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right. And as I said, this memo I just got tonight is actually dated December 11th, 2024.
I saw that.
So maybe there's an update to this.
There's no update as far as I know.
Well, I mean,
They had prepared that as a fair share calculation, and then what you got, it was always intended to be an attachment to the developers agreement. The developers agreement was only received, I think, in late April. So,
could we ask you to go through this and give us a synopsis? Like, I need to know how we're gonna get Goshen Hospitality to do something that's 6 miles away and,
I will do you one better. I will ask John Canning to be here.
Okay.
And he can answer your questions on that.
Thank you.
because he was
Okay,
integral
perfect.
to that.
Thanks, Sean.
thank you.
So did we say aye on that, the table?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all we did.
Okay.
We're gonna table item number 4. The attorneys haven't spoken yet, so we're not gonna speak about it until they have a discussion. Next item on the agenda is Millennium Strategies LLC proposal for continuation of the grant of services beyond the May 31st term. We have quite a bit of projects going on with them right now. I know your question is gonna be, have we closed anything? And no, we have not closed anything, but these grants do take time. What I'm suggesting and what I'm asking the board to do is approve an additional 6-month extension to the end of the year on this grant, on this company, because I think we'll close, I know we'll close at least 2 grants in the next 2 months that they're working on. So, anybody has any questions?
Well, I actually spoke with David today. Remember
Yeah,
David Hanson, is it?
Yep.
Yeah. No, Dave Jenkins.
Jenkins.
And actually, according to him, we have closed. We paid for a year $42,000 for this grant writer, but we have closed on a $50,000 grant. It's it's on that page in that packet that we got. And he told me it's closed. And there's a whole, in fact, he gave me a printout, I have it in another folder of all
What
the
grant did we
things
close on?
that are in that
What
grant.
grant was it, George? Did he tell you for you?
I'll tell you right now. It's all police.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. I stand corrected. They closed on the police grant for $50,000.
Yeah, so
That they worked on with the-
and he also gave me, I can share it with us, he gave me a whole rundown.
Yeah, he gave us a letter.
On all of the stuff that is going to
It's pending.
be able to assist the police department to the tune of $50,000. The only other thing that I think, Joe, I support you as far as the 6 months, even though it is expensive, because he was telling me today that, you know, I was really concerned about what's happening with the federal government. I mean, God knows what's gonna happen with federal monies coming through here. He seems to think that things are settling down, but of course, he writes grants, and one says it's a client, so I understand all of that. But, you know, there is some water quality things that are on here that he's writing the grants for, as
Yes,
you
I know.
probably well know.
Mhm.
And as I already said tonight, and say again, we need a lot of money for the improvements for the water and the sewer. So, yeah, I support the 6 months.
So what would that be, instead of the 42,000, we're doing the 21, like we're doing 6 months?
6 months,
Prorated?
extended to the end of the year.
Prorated?
Yep.
I mean, I was very impressed with all the grants that they are going for. I mean, there was 7 pages of grants that they were looking at, which seemed great. So, a
But
lot of them
they
did have to do
they
with
constantly
water.
send Karina emails on that. We turned down a lot that we don't feel fit the need for us, but they are going heavily against, for police and heavily against for water infrastructure for us.
Right, and we also talked about the T-Mobile grants also for JRC for certain parks and
T-Mobile
rehab.
grant, they're also doing the $175,000 grant to convert the Craigville Park playground area to make it ADA compliant for
Right,
wheelchairs.
the handicapped accessible, yep,
Yep.
ADA, yep, that's great.
Rick, anything?
Phil?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Good. One other thing, just for a comment as far as the public is concerned. One of the things I said to Dave today was, you know, we're considered to be a rich community. So that because we're a rich community in a lot of people's eyes, we don't get a lot of grants because we don't qualify. And his response to me, it was Harrison, down in, I guess, in Westchester County.
Right.
And that is a very affluent area. And he said that through his grant working and stuff, in that particular municipality, they have received $20 million in grants. So it's another reason why I think possibly we can get some money out of this grant writer.
That's good to know.
Okay, so I need a motion to extend the contract with Millennium for another 6 months.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make sure they reflect the prorated at the bottom, the price point, because it's based on it's the year.
Next item on the agenda,
Yeah.
we, as everybody is aware, have had many, many issues with garbage companies and different garbage companies.
It's
in
the court, sorry,
Yep.
Joe.
Number 6.
The resolution for the court audit.
Oh, I apologize for ignoring that. Discuss and approve the resolution of the town's acknowledgement of that 2024 audit of the Town of Goshen Justice Court was performed pursuant to section 2019-A of the Uniform Justice Court Act. Anybody have any issues with it? I mean,
No, and there's a resolution,
Correct.
so we.
Correct, we need a motion. Well, anybody have any questions on it?
I'll make the motion, and then somebody can second, and we can discuss if
Yeah.
anybody has any discussion.
All right, so could I have a motion to accept the Town of Goshen resolution for the Town of Goshen Justice Court?
So moved.
Second?
Then the only other thing I have on here is Doug Bloomfield's name.
I saw that too, yeah.
He's got to put it sign.
Nice, just put me in.
I need a roll call. Councilmember Gallup,
Aye.
Councilmember Florio,
Aye.
Councilmember Lyons,
Aye.
Councilmember Cantorino,
Aye.
Councilmember Bloomfield, no, Supervisor Betcher,
Aye.
I vote it's fine.
I
I did too.
hilarious.
Hilarious.
Give him a bowl of laughter
You're
today.
really, not the real.
You guys think it's funny? Yeah, I gotta do it every day.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, back to item number 7, discuss and review a bid for the townwide garbage collection. As everybody's aware, we've been working on this literally for almost a year. And lately, we've had some major problems in our developments of inconsistency of when the garbage is picked up. And that's because we have multiple vendors that we don't control. I'm not gonna name names, but one vendor picks up at 4:30 in the morning, the other vendor picks up at 9 o'clock in the morning. We have small vendors coming through with small trucks. So what I looked at doing was putting together a bid, and this is just an RFP to go out and see what is available to us. The town of Monroe has done it, the village of Greenwood Lake has done it, the town of Warwick has done it. Town of Chester just completed it, so I actually took the bid from Jesse Dwyer, the supervisor. He gave it to us, so we spent no money on the bid, we just had to change out, the names and stuff. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to, discuss putting this out to bid, getting an RFP, and get some answers to the RFP, and seeing what the savings would be, and trying to get some consistency in the town, we're only having one vendor. I can tell you that, in speaking to Supervisor Cardone, their rates have gone from roughly $45, $50 down to $30 per household. Similar in the town of Warwick, as well as the town of Chester. And the reason that there's a cost savings, I couldn't quite honestly understand why there's a cost savings, but there's zero bad debt when they negotiate with a municipality. So they're able to lower the cost on what they consider their percentage of bad debt. So I have a bid, I have a copied bid here prepared on an RFP, and I'd like to get authorization from the board to send it out to get requests in on, answers in on it.
Yeah, I'd like to see a copy of the RFP anyway, to see what we're
I
asking. Did
gave
you-
it to, I sent it to everybody.
You have it?
I sent it to everybody 4 weeks ago.
Oh,
Well, I didn't get it 4 weeks
2
ago.
weeks, 2 weeks
Huh?
ago.
I
2
got
weeks
it.
ago?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks.
I got it.
Well, at least
Maybe a week
it was,
ago.
it was drafted 2 weeks.
2 weeks
I don't
ago.
know when it went out to the board, but.
So,
Alright, we
you know, I understand exactly what you're saying, Joe, as far as that.
Here, Phil, people, I mean, it's a lot to go through. I mean, you're not gonna go through it in
No, no,
5
I'm not
minutes.
gonna, no, we're gonna vote to send it
Yeah,
out,
but
but I just
yeah.
wanna fine tune this thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's old.
Yeah,
No,
no,
I understand what you're saying, as far as
Sorry.
the cost savings going from 45 to
I do not
30,
have this.
that's great. But in the back of my mind, I was just wondering, does everybody really want this?
I don't know, do you want it in the village?
Absolutely, I want it in the village.
So I'm assuming that we all want it.
Well, no, I'm saying it, and I don't know this is
I
fact.
gotta-
I'm throwing out the question just
Yep.
because I think it's, I thought about it, and I said,
So-
well, maybe there are some people
Yeah.
who really do not hire a outfit. And what they do, I think our past supervisor may have been one of them, they take it out to the dump themselves.
You did.
Understood.
So, anyway, that's just the first question. I'm not saying don't
No,
send it
no,
out.
no, listen,
but
George,
If, say, 30 or 40% of people don't want it, why give it to them?
I don't disagree with you, and we're not approving to actually do this. We're just approving to go out and get pricing to come back in, and then it goes up for discussion, and then it goes to a public hearing, and all that happens. This is just an RFP to go out and get pricing.
That definitely should be a public hearing.
Yeah, well,
Agree with that.
Yeah.
but we don't, right,
Okay.
so to answer your question, that's exactly what happens.
Right, okay. So I read this entire document and this document as well. And I have some details that are inconsistencies in it. So I don't know, I don't think you wanna go through line by line and stuff like this. But what I could do, because I think what you're looking to do now is to send it out as
No.
is. What
I'm looking to get board approval to
Okay.
say we're gonna move forward and sending it out.
So
We
what
know-
what I'm saying is, I think it's a good idea to send it out, but I think it has to be reviewed because there's inconsistencies as I read it over.
And I don't disagree with you.
Okay.
So it was taken from another municipality. The purpose of tonight is just to prepare it to be ready to go out and get approval to send it out, once the attorneys have gone through it all.
Yeah.
And if you have any comments to it, by all means, we'd like you to put them together.
I probably will too once I read it.
Right, should we send those to, should we forward?
I'll
those
I'll
forward?
ultimately be the, I'll add in, I'll be the one signing off on it.
Okay.
So yes, please.
But just on the first page, there's 3 inconsistencies, so we are aware of that.
Right.
So do we wanna table this for the next meeting, while we all look at it, take a closer look?
Certainly can.
Yeah, we get the
And
bid
then-
doc
and then-
right, and then, but
Yeah,
for
yeah,
next
just-
meeting, I'll have it
Sure,
represented.
no problem.
I would think, so we all have a chance to take a look at it, make comments, and then
Not an issue at all.
we'll vote and just send it out.
Yep.
Or-
Okay.
or-
All right, so we need a motion or what?
Yeah, I need a motion to table it to the June.
You don't need, no, you don't need a motion, it's just on, it was on for discussion.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll put
So-
it back on for June 12th, not a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
but that being said, if we can get a real good rate for some of the people in our subdivision, I think they might really like that.
And, right, and not to have
Yeah.
3 different
All
garbage
over the lot.
collections on
Yeah.
5 different days, and, yeah.
And then they could, I'm sure that they would have some security in being able to turn it to the town and say, this guy is doing this, this, and this, and this, can you help us? You know, so
Yeah.
there were good points to that, so.
So, I'm sorry, it was gonna be tabled to when?
To next-
June- I
In
know,
June
what is
12th,
that?
June 12th is our next meeting.
Yeah.
Discuss and review the permit application for Orange County Bicycle Club to operate the Tour de Goshen. We discussed this last time, correct, and approved it, now they're just giving us the permit?
No,
They
no,
gave us the insurance, the updated insurance,
and a sign.
and the signed indemnification. So we can go ahead, but we didn't issue approved permit at the last meeting.
We didn't issue approval.
We didn't.
Okay.
So you need a motion now
Well,
to approve this?
Motion to approve the application.
So moved.
Second, discussion? Phil, anything?
No, I'm good, I wasn't here.
All in, Roll
All
call?
in favor? We don't need a roll call.
All in favor?
Aye.
Review and approve the May 8, 2025 Town Board minutes.
So moved.
Yeah, I don't have any issue
I
with
don't
it.
have any, I don't have any.
I don't have any changes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain, I wasn't here.
Next item on the agenda is review and approve the hiring of part-time police officer Melissa
Chief?
Chief
I don't know.
Parziale
You only learn them once they're hired?
Parziale at the step 1, 30.75 an hour. Any comments from you, Chief, on it? I know she's, you like as a candidate, where she's from?
He was recommended by one of my full-timers who also works with her in another township where he works part-time, or used to. He recommends her, he thinks she'd be a good fit here. We've interviewed her. We'd like to hire her, pending her passing a background.
So obviously, the one question I have is how do we handle the non-female, no bathroom, no place to change? Have you worked those details out? I mean, it's up to.
She has a place to change, a locker, private room, and it's a unisex bathroom.
Yeah, we had a female officer before in our town police, so,
Okay.
I remember.
yeah. We're still signing checks.
1980.
We're still signing disability
She worked
checks.
3 weeks ago.
That's what I said. That's why I remember it specifically, because I'm still signing disability checks 20 years later.
Well, so she only worked 3 weeks
I
though.
know.
Yeah.
She didn't have to worry about changing.
Okay.
But, no, we do. I'm
She's an EMT also.
Wow.
Yeah, she's a past EMT with Go Back.
Yes, she is.
Oh, really? So, George, why don't you help me with her name then? I was struggling
I
here.
always had a problem with it as well.
Not Italian.
Avasil, I guess. That's what I know, but, yeah, I mean, part-time officer on step 1, in my mind, doesn't get any better than that.
And an EMT.
Yeah,
Yeah.
an EMT.
Perfect.
Another fly girl. Wrong
Yeah.
verbiage, fly car person.
Like her.
Yeah, my girls. You got that?
You guys,
Strike that
I
one.
didn't think you remembered that.
Before you guys get in trouble, a motion to
Yeah.
hire her,
Yeah,
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye. Yeah.
So Chief, now we get,
Well, we're done, Joe, we're done.
no, I wanna talk about grants, so you can see, have Eddie look and see what's available grant-wise, maybe for female bathroom, something similar to what the village got from Senator Scoopus.
Yeah.
Once we hire her,
Yeah.
possibly.
Well, just gotta prove to hire her. Now, she's gotta pass, right?
Yeah.
Background check, right?
Yep. Well, she should pass the background check, right?
She's currently an officer part-time in Schwaga.
Yeah. Well, that should be good. All right, next item, information only, Nick Elia has resigned from the building department as of June 1st, 2025. He's taking a job on directly with Legoland, so good for Nick.
So do we need a resolution?
No, he's leaving.
He's
so
leaving.
It doesn't matter what you
Okay,
say.
yeah.
He's
Yeah,
leaving.
yes, he did.
We do have a meeting set up on June 12th, I believe, with Legoland.
Don't do it, Phil. Don't.
Okay. Okay.
We do have a meeting set up on June 12th with Legoland to discuss what they're going to expect of the town and what we could expect from them now that Nick is not here. He was heavily engaged in the day-to-day there as an employee for the town of Goshen. He did all of their fire checks and everything else, so we'll get a better understanding when we meet with her. All right, finance, discuss and approve the supervisor to pay accounts payable in the amount of $305,365.29. Have that motion.
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Discuss and approve the supervisor to pay manual check run for May 16th in the amount of $85. Can I have that motion?
So moved.
Second,
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Review and approve the request by budget officer for 2025 year-to-date budget transfer dated May 22nd, 2025. They have that motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Information only attaches the budget officer's AP review for May 22nd. Okay, best time of the night, privilege of the floor.
Hey, before we start, I'm gonna make an announcement. That privilege of the floor is 3 minutes. I do have my timer. We are going to stick to it. All issues, there will be no Q&A. You can direct all your comments directly to the board. And it's only on town issues.
Good evening, my name is Chris Healy, resident of Goshen. Threw a couple extra things at me tonight, so let's see how I get through in 3 minutes. Earlier this week, I did send a letter to the board. Did board members receive and have a chance to read it?
I read it. I did.
And then you, and, Mr. Supervisor, do we think it's feasible that we could get a reintroduction of the commercial water district to the town residents?
You'll get a response from me. I'm working on it. I apologize.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're looking at it.
Busy guy, I get it.
Yep.
Let's see how we get through with this. Next thing, and this is kind of important. At the April 29th annual town water sewer meeting, there was a discussion about the water quality in the newly consolidated residential district. Hamiltonian Park is on the way up with the new green sand filtration system, and that's welcome news. Still issue in Arcadia Hills and Scotchtown Park. We did say Arcadia is a multi-million-dollar project and that the town board is chasing down grants, which I'd love to hear. Now, on Scotchtown, the idea was floated at that meeting, and I don't think it got enough attention. I don't think it got the attention it deserved. The Village of Goshen has a pipeline that runs in the ground from the well field at the Wallkill River, and it goes right up Goshen Turnpike. This pipeline goes right past the 45 house development of Scotchtown Park. If possible, tapping into that pipeline would bypass all the trouble of the existing well that serves this development. Has the town of Goshen ever approached the Village of Goshen to work out a deal to supply water to Scotchtown Park?
I'm gonna answer this, Mayor. I know
Well,
you're gonna yell at me.
I'm sorry.
I'll hold you 3 minutes, but yes, we did reach out to them. I've spoken to the mayor. The issue that we have is they're the same boat as us. They have iron and manganese in their water, so they treat it also.
They've got iron and manganese coming out of the well field, and
Correct.
I didn't know that. I appreciate that you looked out. Our residents definitely in Scotchtown and Arcadia they need help, and you know that. You're working on it. I thank you. Last year, this board discussed giving the building inspector leeway to issue variances to homeowners under certain conditions, and you spoke of pool locations, shed placement, setbacks, etc. This really can't happen soon enough. You wouldn't know it unless you watched the meeting the other night at zoning. We had an applicant, a resident come in. It's a lot of work to go through, basically replacing what was already there. The pavilion is 80 square feet larger than it was, but it's still on the same concrete pad. 80 square feet is 2.5 sheets of sheetboard, plywood. It's not terribly much, but these town residents, taxpayers have to come in. They've got to go through paying for the whole application. It'll be thousands of dollars. But more insidious than that is the buildings department has to accept the application, process the application, appear for the initial zoning board meeting so they can answer questions. They have to return for the public hearing, and this is all on our building inspector currently, Frank Leva, who is doing a fantastic job. But all of this stuff adds up on his desk, where if he was allowed to take a look in the field and say, yeah, of course this is going to be approved, and to give the sign off, it would really take the weight off of the building inspector and his department. It would take the weight off the financial burden off of the residents of Goshen. We talked about it. Please really consider giving the building inspector more leeway to use his discretion in the field on some of these smaller projects. I didn't get much time to do the other things, but Mr. Supervisor, tonight you talked about RDM Warehouse. RDM in particular, they've been working very hard in Wawayanda. Those meetings got nasty. They're on video. You can watch them. One of the things that really upset me was that RDM told the residents, if you don't let us do this, we're going to do something bigger. Not a good company. Definitely not a company I would want to work with. Thank you. Have a good night.
Mr. Smith.
Bob Smith, Goshen. Naturally, I have a problem with your 3-minute limit here. It says,
Take it up with Mr. Roberts.
I'd take it up with the board, because it says the board reserves the right to execute discretion where applicable. Now, on nights where there's a lot of things up for discussion, or there's weighty matters, or we have a knowledgeable public citizen that's contributing, like Chris, I don't see why he should be rushed. And obviously, he said tonight, oh, there's too many matters, I can't get them all in 3 minutes. So I think that's a place where you should use your discretion and allow him to continue with his discussion. You can't hold everybody strict 3 minutes and that's it.
We can do what we do in Washington, you get assign your time to him.
Well, I
Joe, can you run these things by me first?
but you know,
I know,
You
Bob,
still have
listen,
2 minutes,
I
keep
got you.
talking.
no, I don't wanna waste people's time, but the 3 minutes, I think on some nights
Well,
is
well,
impractical.
We'll take him, we'll look at it.
Thank you.
Thank you, chief.
Steve Betancourt, Town of Goshen, how are you all? Quick question, I know we're gonna discuss it further, but we was mentioned today regarding the garbage and the potential company that we're gonna put an RFP out, that could pick it up. Just from my understanding, was the expectation is that everyone would have to buy in? Second question, once a week or potential 2 times a week they would pick up garbage? And would the payment be a subscription with the garbage company or through our taxes?
Taxes.
Okay. And the anticipation for garbage pickup, just once a week, maybe twice a week?
Whatever we request and whatever they bid.
Okay, perfect.
They're gonna give us a set price for a pickup, and then we can determine we want 2 pickups. It's up to the taxpayers.
Beautiful, thank you. Appreciate it.
Once a week.
Now, we're deciding who's gonna be last.
Thank you. I agree with Mr. Smith. I think 3 minutes is really tough on this many projects. Nick Elliott, I just want to really try, I think it worked really good with him. I hope we continue something like that up there because we were getting paid $100 an hour for him to be up there.
Yeah.
So he was not costing us anything, he was actually making us money. Townwide garbage, I'm against it. I have 4 properties, I don't need garbage picked up anywhere. Nobody's complaining about my garbage companies picking them up. So I really hope it doesn't go on the taxes. I don't care if you want to do this subscription kind of thing or whatever, but I don't want to get taxed, even at $30 a thing. That would end up being $360 for each parcel. So I hope we don't do that. On the developers agreement, part of the developers agreement we had in the past with some of these others did not just include the road improvements, it also included coverage for inspections, building inspections. And they had an agreement with that, so that, what we heard tonight, I hope is not considered to be complete. The other thing is RDM has 3 properties out there. If you look at the other 2 that they proposed, they had a more extensive thing than just changing the traffic light. It involved adding lanes and everything else. I think you have to look at that before you go ahead and say, yeah, $40,000 is your fair share, as 10% of that. Okay, last thing is Craigville or Youngs Grove. There were a number of issues with that, and we went back and forth. We went to, let's go to the village, let's not go to the village. If we go to the village, there's gonna be vents along the way that people are gonna have to put up with the smell. And we also had that, hey, there's gonna be leakage in the pipes. They always leak to some degree, hopefully not significantly, but anyhow, they do that. The other problem we had with that, one was being discussed in the past, was everybody else who wanted to jump on it. We had people out there, Caprian, I believe his name, no, it wasn't Caprian, I'm sorry, but it was right next to them. They wanted to add their 80 houses, and then Broadlee wanted to put their affordable housing up there. And then people along the way, I think there was a church opposite Corey's that wanted to join in. I think you're gonna open that up. Yeah, so I think you're gonna open that up, and I think you may have a real problem with that if it comes by there. Anyhow, and I think that's not all of them. I think there's others out there who are gonna wanna join in too. Yeah, the church, yep, okay. And the other thing you have to consider when you're talking about this and dumping the sewage into there, you're also adding Maplewood right now too. And I think Maplewood's gonna jump in and dump into that same line going up there, where you dump it in for the village, I think so. So, yeah, you do have to, I think you may have to look at that. Okay, and that was really fast. I think I may have covered most of it. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh, Neil, I didn't put the timer on for you. No, I'm just kidding. You had 29 seconds.
No, you were waiting to tag me on it.
Anybody else want to speak? All right, is there a motion to close the May 22nd meeting? So moved. Second? All in favor?
Aye.
I'm glad the part-time hire made Mr. Lyons happy,
Well, I think it made everybody happy.
or made everybody happy, made me happy, made Melissa
A woman
happy.
named Melissa, there you go.
You got 2 minutes
Another
left.
Melissa?
You got 2
Well, what
minutes
time
left.
is it?
You just wasted a minute.
What time is it? We've been preparing a bi-weekly report for the town board. If you want, it highlights, some of the things we've done over the past 2 weeks since the last meeting. If you want, I'll read it.
We got copies.
Oh, you got copies?
Yeah.
And it was in the paper as well, wasn't it?
Yes.
That one was, and
It's
this
in the
one will
Indy.
be, yeah, this one will be. So
Yeah.
it's public record, okay? One of the things I did wanna talk about for the residents is, the increased traffic on some of the side roads, probably due to the, backup on 17,
Yeah,
westbound.
yeah.
It got really bad a couple times, but
Bad.
we do have, as you guys know, we do have some license plate reading cameras out there. They scan license plates. We might have some double scans in here. If a car is going slow enough or turning, it might get the scan twice. So these aren't really numbers of vehicles, but numbers of scans. In March, on Phillipsburg Road, by the cemetery, that part of Phillipsburg Road, 49,846 scans. That's probably before the construction. In April, 69,423 scans. That's 19,577 scan difference, 39% difference.
Getting off the Burke exit and swinging
They're
around.
probably, well, they're probably getting off Burke and going up, well, you know they are. They're going up
They're
Old
definitely
Minnesink to
going-
Phillipsburg, or they're going Cheechunk to Owen, and they're
Friday, I can't
converging.
get to Middleton. Friday, I turn around and come home. They're now going up Scotchtown.
Yeah.
They're going all the way across to
Scotchtown.
Scotchtown. It's crazy.
Once you get up to Middletown and Scotchtown, you gotta sit through 4 or 5 cycles.
Right,
Do we
right.
have
Lights.
It's crazy.
an ETA on how long this is gonna take?
I don't hear rumors, but I haven't heard any, nobody's ever told us anything.
Last time they built that bridge took 5 years. Literally. The bridge,
I did get a chance,
5 years.
5 years.
Yep.
I did get a chance to take a look at the Burke exit one, that's just astronomical. I mean, that is a ton of cars coming off that Burke exit right
oh,
there.
it's terrible.
Buses, trucks are just diverting, they're jumping
Yeah.
off. And they're even jumping off now at 123, going past the new Kedem Winery building and down, and they're backing up 17M.
Yeah,
It's telling Waze users to go down
Nuts.
17M to 84 and across. So it's a problem.
it's a
I
real.
don't know what we can do about it, we're trying.
It looks like it's gonna, it looks like it's gonna be long term, especially
Yeah.
the ones on 17, right?
Rumor is the end of 2026.
Yeah, there's two major, things that they're doing here. One right before the exit and one right after the
It's
exit.
the new entrance off of 17 or 86 onto 84. They're redirecting all that traffic.
They might be building a 3rd lane, so they can do their work and they can keep maybe
That's-
just a
that's
2-lane
to cover
diversion.
Interstate 86, that's what they're doing, according to the town of Wallkill.
That's number 1. Number 2, I have, this is gonna make George mad, I have 2 officers here on overtime. I'd like to bring them down. One, it's the K-9,
Yeah.
so we can talk about the K-9 unit.
Yep.
I got Sergeant Edwards upstairs, he can talk also about the grants if you want him
Listen,
to. And,
we're early tonight. That 3 minutes gave you a lot of time.
is that flag strategically placed on the clock?
Let's go, move it.
They were watching live, I don't have magic powers. They were watching live, somebody is gonna steal the show in here right now.
All right.
Is everybody okay with the dogs?
Anybody concerned about a dog? No? No petting, no.
Sergeant Ed Edwards. You can talk a little bit about the grants if you want to. Grants are not as easy as you think, so I appreciate you rehiring Millennium. Grants, you don't just apply for it and get it. Intensive amount of work.
Well, you got, actually, you got two, right? This one that I talked about tonight, the 50,000, and then there was one for,
$499.
technology, it was like 450,000 or something.
We are slowly spending that
Yeah.
money, we're getting there.
With 3 more grants in the pipeline, we have an extreme risk order of protection grant. We're waiting to hear back from that. We have a grant for Buckle Up New York, which is Every May, the state puts out an initiative to do seatbelt tickets, and we have a grant for police traffic services, which is just like general moving violations to try and keep the high traffic areas following traffic laws, and cause less accidents with injuries. So right now, we have quite a few in the pipeline.
Great.
We have Officer Antonio Esposito, who's here, he's on duty right now. And I guess the star of the show today. This is Officer Mike Figueroa, retired NYPD, canine officer from the city. He's the guy I talk about when I say we have the guy here, working here already. We have the guy, the officer. And that's Bear. That's not, we didn't already go get a canine, assuming you would approve it. That's Mike's dog, personal dog, Bear. 7 months old. This is maybe this will sway your decision, but if you guys want to ask Mike some questions, if you have any questions about what the canine, part-time canine program would entail, or where would you get a dog from, or how much would the dog, if you have any questions, feel free.
I've asked most of my questions.
Come on up, Mike, come on up.
So,
If you can. There, over here, there.
Well, just for the public's sake, we've also, I think most of us have also met privately with you to talk about,
Yes.
the dog and what the dog would be doing, and also, so I think most of us really pretty much know what the function of the dog would be.
It's going to,
though.
Aw.
that's your dog.
Correct,
Right,
yeah.
that you now have retired with, I guess, right? 'Cause he
No.
was-
No, this was a puppy.
It's new,
Oh,
there.
oh, so-
New puppy.
Yeah, my dog passed.
Yeah,
Right.
but so he's not trained as a canine police officer?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I'm training him, but
Right.
Not yet.
I have a good question.
Baby stage.
I have a good question for Mike, he might be on your mind. Could that possibly be the dog,
I don't know.
that if that dog shows the drive or the initiative or is trainable, could that be the one where we wouldn't have to buy a dog?
Could be. We'd have to put it through a series of tests.
And it will be longer training, because the dog that you would buy would be already certified.
Right, and this would be considered a green dog. So,
Question from the audience, how long does it take the dog to be trained, and what's he trained to do? I mean, sniff out stuff, bring people down if he has to, or? what-
No, I think we're leaning towards more explosives,
Oh,
as well as tracking, which is live, human scent for missing,
yeah.
We have a
or
couple of
runaways.
homes in Goshen.
I'm sorry?
So we have a
Couple
couple of
homes.
homes in Goshen.
Yes.
So we have a lot of
Group
stray,
homes.
Yeah, that they walk,
they
they just
walk
walk
and
away
they're
into
kind of
the
like
woods.
autistic, some of them autistic, some of them.
Special
and-
needs, yeah.
and
To be honest,
I know
we had a
we
s-
had one that was gone for like 9 hours one day. We found.
Yes.
Yep.
To be honest, they run away in the dark and things like that. To be honest, we did have, this is kind of sad, we had a suicidal person that took off in the woods, pretty deep in the woods, and if, we wouldn't have found him if we didn't. Luckily, Jeremy Harder was working in the village, luckily, and we were able to, even though his dog was tired, had to rest for an hour. When the dog finally was ready to go, that's how we found him, in the woods. So there's a lot of uses.
Yeah, no, listen, I think we all agree on it, and it's, the timing of it is great because, the cost associated with it, is almost zero. Almost zero.
$40,000 for the dog.
Yeah, but,
Just to buy the dog.
no. Let's just say we have support of a very large, contributor in the town.
We do.
Yes,
Meet the new Nick Elia.
yeah, we do. We have, George asked me to do something, I made a phone call, and they've agreed in principle to, take care of that cost.
The primary purpose, talking about liquor, the primary purpose is legally.
Could be, you could say that, that's fair.
Yeah.
So-
Protecting the assets of the town, that would be one of them.
Right. So I mentioned this before, but I guess it's, we have a part-time officer here, and there's only one person that can control the dog, right? There's only one person.
Yes.
That's
Well, the dog will be
that's
with
the
him.
They're
handler.
partners.
That's the handler. So, he's gonna be up there, I guess, at Legoland spotty. Can't be the whole time Legoland is open. So what is the plan to like take them up there at a certain time in the morning and certain times in the afternoon or something like that, so that the bad guys, if there are bad guys there, are going to wonder whether or not the dog is there or not?
Without getting into like police tactics and
Yeah.
things like that, I would say it would be smart to be there at opening. It would be smart to be there in case they receive threats from,
There's no
Possible
consistency in the
ex-
scheduling.
no.
Did I say that?
say that.
Yep.
Does the sheriff department have canines? They must have canines. don't
They do.
Okay.
They must have several, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they do. They got at least one comfort support dog.
They have all
They got a few
different,
dogs. They got a few dogs.
with all
Canine.
different,
Disciplines, yeah.
disciplines.
Different disciplines, different assignments, different hours.
It was interesting, the last time you were here talking about it, Dylan, who's our person, our IT person, was telling us that he worked at Legoland, and he said almost on a daily basis, they would lose a child, and they couldn't find a child at Legoland. So
Yeah.
if it really did become an emergency to find a child, that for me would be something that would be great.
Yeah, it happens more than it's reported.
Mhm. So,
So logistically, you might wind up having 2 dogs.
Logistically, yes.
Or 3 dogs, or 4 dogs.
And I think.
I've had many dogs before, but yeah.
Yeah, the other costs related to that, to the dog is, we have a vehicle already, which I guess has to be outfitted, right? It has
Yes.
to be changed and
Correct.
modified, so that's a cost there. And there really isn't any other costs, right? I mean,
There's
except
other costs.
Upkeep.
Upkeep,
feed,
food,
Feed,
veterinary
vet-
bills.
Vet bills and stuff like that.
It's
That's
not,
big.
it's mainly the purchase of the dog. And the police officer's on duty anyway, so it's just an addition to,
Right.
yeah, okay.
An extra tool.
As a tool, okay.
And I think once you establish a canine unit, then you can put in for grants. We tried to get a grant, but until we had a unit already formed, I don't know if that's true, I don't know if you have to have more than one canine in your department, I don't know.
Anybody else? Neil?
Yeah, just, the emphasis here is to go to Legoland. Would it be more economical for Legoland to just pay? I understand that privately, they can hire security at about $80 or $90 an hour with a dog. I don't know if that's good or bad, I don't know the numbers at all. I haven't got pet dogs. But I just, if the emphasis is for Legoland, that may be the more economical way to do it.
Yeah, I would hope the emphasis is not Legoland, because I'm really tired of that. You know, Legoland has their own security and everything else, and if it's consuming more and more of our police time away from our residents, it's Legoland, so,
I don't know whether the dog is gonna go, but I'm sure that, you know, that from time to time, we'll have them up there just to identify any threats that may or may not happen.
yeah, if there's a phone threat or something like that, then, rather than just put them up there all the time.
Anybody else in the audience, questions for him?
Yeah.
Chris, nothing?
I was wondering if the dog sniffs out marijuana, because it seems everybody's high today. So I guess dogs don't do that anymore, right?
No, this is.
I can't drive down the road without getting a contact high, so, but other drugs and
I actually
such.
saw that, so we don't need a dog for that.
You don't need to, there are cannabis shops all over the place.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Thank you guys so
Thank
much.
you.
Need a motion to close?
Yeah, thank you.
I'll make
Any
that
other good?
motion. Melissa, second?
Eddie, you have anything?
Second.
No, sorry.
Bill? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
What did the town attorney